Hey, what's up YouTube? You're watching Ready Set Drone, and today I have the M1 22 from Yeeplay. It's an electric skateboard with hub motors, and we're gonna check it out, so stay tuned. So this is the M1 22, and it comes from a company called Yeeplay. Yeeplay did provide this to me for review. I did not buy it, but I'm gonna try and give you a good unbiased review. We have had 3 other skateboards on our channel. This is number 4, and so we have some good points of comparison. But the biggest appeal about this guy is that it is a fairly low-cost board and it's really fast. It is $250 for the M1 22 and $350 for the M30. Now the difference between the two is the size of the battery. With the M22, you get a 4,400 milliamp hour battery, which gives you 18 to 22 kilometers, which is the equivalent of 12 to 14 miles of range. And then with the M130, the bigger battery, you get a 6,000 milliamp hour battery, and that gives you 22 to 27 kilometers or 14 to 17 miles. Now I'm actually running a mapping program for our ride today, and my plan is to ride it until the battery dies and see how far we actually get. So I can tell you, carrying a 220-pound guy like me, how far you can go on it. The remote is pretty standard for these. As a matter of fact, this is the same remote I've seen on a couple of other boards. It has a switch for low, medium, and high, which basically increases the amount of torque you get and the amount of speed, top end speed you can do. It has a reverse button that you can push that'll make it go backwards. And it does have a braking system, and I have to say, I like the braking system on this. I'm pretty used to the braking system on a couple of other boards. I did ride the high wheel, and that had the worst braking system because it basically just stopped the board as soon as you hit the brake. But this one and the Pomelo and the off-road board that we've reviewed all have a little bit more of a subtle braking system, and when you pull it down, it actually just slows you down and will actually stop the board. I was on a bit of an incline earlier, hit the brake, and it stopped me from rolling backwards while I was waiting for something. So that's pretty cool.
Okay, slow down. Oh my goodness.
Has a little bit of flex, but not as much as some other boards I've ridden. And the deck does have a little bit of a concaveness to it on the top. So that's helpful for figuring out where the edge of the board is with your feet. And it feels pretty good. It isn't as smooth riding as some of the more flexy boards, but these big wheels and the material on these wheels is fairly soft for skateboard wheels. And I have to say that they help, but the deck, I think, being more rigid doesn't. So you're a little bit rougher ride than you would have on, certainly on a boosted board or Pomelo. The battery is right here, and it has one port for charging that has a cover on it right here. And you just plug this in, there's a green light on the charger, and when you charge it, it goes from red to green, and as soon as it's green, it's fully charged. And then the ESCs are up here, and the motors are hub motors that are built into the wheels themselves, and so that gives the wheels a lot of torque. And it's also a fairly quiet board, which I like. It's got 36 volt 4400 milliamp hour or 36 volt 6000 milliamp hour battery, depending on which model you get, but otherwise they're exactly the same. One of the coolest things about this board, though, I have to say, is the fact that they engrave your name on it for you. So I got Ready Set Drone put in right there, which is really awesome. And also I have to say, it comes in 2 graphics, and I like the graphic a lot. It's really just got this cool dragon motif. There's another one that's a little bit more of maybe an anime motif. It's black and white instead of gold. I think you can also get the dragon in different colors, like red. So I have the gold one. I like it a lot. And quite honestly, I'm usually not a big fan of big logos on things, but the Yeeplay logo is pretty cool looking right there. It also kind of gives you an idea of what's the front. I know that the Yeeplay logo, if I'm standing on it and I can read it, then I've got it pointing in the right direction. So in terms of price, the website has this listed at $400 and something for the M1 22, but it says reduced to $259. So I don't know if $259 is always the price for it, or if they're just doing a special right now to start off. I think it's a fairly new company, but I will say that $259 seems like a pretty good deal. One thing you need to take into account is shipping. It's going to cost you at least $100 in the US to have this shipped to you. So whatever it is, add $100 for shipping. So really $359. But that's true of just about any board you're going to buy. These are heavy and they're going to be expensive to ship. It does come with a tool to tighten the trucks, and Right now, these are actually fairly loose, but I kind of like them that way. And you can see right here, they've got some good flex, and they do recenter themselves really well. And that's really what you want. You want a board that when you let go, it goes back to the middle. You see how it's going back to the middle each time I do that? And back here as well. You don't want it to stay over on one side, and that has to do with the bearings and the components inside of these things. The motors are in the back here. As I said, they're hub motors, and so they are built in, and they're pretty quiet. So let's go ahead and turn it on, and I'll show you what I mean. Pairing it's super easy. Every single time I've turned the remote on and turned the thing on, it's started right up. So I'm in low mode right now, but listen how quiet that is. And here's the brake. Now I'm going to switch it to high. And you can feel that brake just kick on. And then that's, if I just do it and I let go, they free spin versus stopping when I hit the brake. So one other thing to consider when you're looking at an electric skateboard is that you want to make sure whatever electric skateboard you buy, you factor in the fact that you probably will be out one day and run out of battery. It could happen. So if you're going to be cautious about that, hub motors are actually better in that you can ride this thing like a regular skateboard. It's heavy, but you can push it along and it'll go just fine. The external motors that have the belts are a lot less forgiving when it comes to pushing it with your feet. And so that's one reason why I prefer the hub motor. Is it might not have quite as much torque, but it does allow you to ride it like a regular skateboard easier than the ones with the belts, number one. And number two, they're just quieter. I mean, as you could hear here from this demonstration. Overall, the wheels feel really good. They're nice and solid, but have a little bit of pliability to them, so they're not quite as rigid as some of the wheels I've ridden on. The deck is nice. Feels like pretty good quality. I love the engraving. As I said before, that's kind of a nice little differentiator that Yeeplay is doing. Is you order it and they put that on there for you for free. I think it's a laser engraving, and for the price, I think it's a pretty good board. Let's go out and ride it a little bit more. We'll see how far of a distance we get. We'll also do a speed test with myself and with Tate to see how fast it can go carrying a heavy guy and a light guy. Okay, so here comes Tate. He's got the speedometer app going, and he's gonna see how fast we can go. So let's see what he gets. What was your top speed? 15 miles per hour? All right, now can I try? Going slightly uphill. I hit 18. Yeah, I got it. so I spent a good chunk of the day riding the Yeeplay M1 22, and I have to say I'm a fan. I like it. It is very, very fast. The brakes work really well. It's quiet. I like the design. I like the shape of the board. I like the way the wheels feel. And I took it off-road a little bit, and there aren't even any dents or anything in the wheels. They held up really well. So I am a big fan of this board. There are a couple of downsides. Number one, I did ride it all the way to battery depletion, and it got me about 10 3/4 miles. So it advertises, I think, 11 to 12 miles. So it was a little bit short of its advertised mileage, but I'm a pretty big guy, and so, and my son was riding it some too, but I felt like it was close to what it was advertising at 10 3/4. And number two, it's not very flexible. It's a pretty rigid board, and I will say after riding it that much, it does make you pretty tired. You don't get the absorption that you get from a softer, more bouncy board. But really, that's it. I mean, and there was one little LED light out on the charger thing here. You might even be able to see it if I turn it on. Yeah, that third light is out right there. So not a huge deal, but just, you know, one of those quality control things. But other than that, I really like this board, especially for $250. I feel like that is a really good deal for an electric skateboard that has the same quality as some more expensive ones, in my opinion. Now, you do have to charge, or you do have to pay $100 for shipping on this thing. Basically, it's heavy, and you're gonna have to pay for it to get shipped to you. So count on $350 for the M22, and then if you want the M30 with the bigger battery, it's gonna be the same, $350 plus $100 for shipping, so $450. So overall, I think this is a young startup company. They've been very, very responsive and very interactive with me, and I've appreciated that. I hope they're doing well. I love the fact that they're trying to change up the game with these cool graphics, and also with the custom engraving that they do on the board. I wish them luck, and I do think they have a good, solid product. If you want to order it, I'll put the link. There's no affiliate program set up with this currently, so I'm just sending you to them and hoping that you have a great experience like I did. Please comment below and let me know if you do get a Yeeplay board and what you think about it. And if you like skateboard reviews and of course drone reviews, please subscribe to Ready Set Drone. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.